Welcome to All Dressed Up.
And Nowhere to Go.
I'm Benny Malone, Artistic Director of the Wonderbolt Circus.
And I'm Anahareo. I run iFly Aerial Arts, and I'm excited to say there's going to be some things happening in studio in August, so stay tuned for that. I'm also the co-producer and co-director of the St. John's International Circus Fest.
And here we are, all dressed up. Very, very nice dress you got there, scintillating outfit.
Thank you so much. I guess you're wondering a little bit about the dress.
Always.
This dress has been around the world, been a couple of places, couple of countries. Few stories could be told about the dress.
Oh yeah? Are you going to tell those stories?
I will not be sharing any stories. Kind of what happens in Berlin, London, Montreal stays in those places.
So it's a party dress.
It's a bit of a party dress.
Well, I'll tell you, this suit also has a story. I got this suit in Nova Scotia at a vintage clothing shop. I was ordered by a band member, a rock band in the 60s. He never picked it up. So 20 years later, I got it, and the price tag, brand new price tag, and everything was still in it, never worn. So it's one of my treasures.
Fabulous.
Thank you, darling.
And speaking of Nova Scotia, we are here. We're in episode 5. We're going to level 2 tomorrow in St. John's. For those of you that don't really follow, probably not what the levels are in our province, level 2 does actually mean quite a bit more opening up. The playground across the street is opened. Gyms can open, other things. So you can definitely feel a little bit more freedom happening. And we started out this show about, a month and a half ago. We were in a little bubble, just the two of us.
Just the two of us, building castles.
So on that note, the bubble is expanding, thank God.
It is. They're touring the whole Atlantic provinces.
Atlantic bubble
Our
is happening.
friends from the Atlantic Circus Alliance are now feel free to come and join us. Mike Hirschbach or Vanessa Furlong.
So that's happening on July 3rd. So it's kind of fun, this talk show, because every week things are happening. We are live, so feel free to tell us where you're from. Say a little hello. And if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. Yeah,
it's a very sweltering hot night here in St. John's. So
this is tropical here tonight.
It's
Can
tropical.
you see it? I'm sweating in this dress.
Our two technicians are in their shorts and t-shirts, but here we are, all dressed up, nowhere to go.
Suffering for our art. So on that note, we have two amazing artists who I'm sure have suffered more than once in a costume in some heated venue or country. We have Marie-Ève Dicaire, who's from Montreal. She'll be joining us a little bit later. But up first, we have what we like to call our beloved Mookie.
Mookie, best known for her side-splitting physical comedy, Mookie was the lead clown and creator on Cirque du Soleil's Varekai. She also performs for San Francisco's New Pickle Circus. She's been in countless festivals and cabarets all over the world. She has a resume like you wouldn't believe. She's also a regular in the hit cabaret show La Soirée. And of course, Mookie was our host at both of our last 2 circus festivals. And I think anyone who saw her emceeing the National Circus School a Newfoundland Symphony Orchestra show that we did at the Arts and Culture Center in our first cabaret will never forget her. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Mookie.
That's me.
Hi, Mookie.
Hello.
Hey.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
Wow.
You look fabulous. Love the green.
Oh, thank you. And you. I'm a little low on the glitter, but whatever, next
The
time.
color scheme good, though. You're matching. It's all good.
Still very early here in Saskatchewan. A little early for glitter.
That's true. That's true. Hey, Mookie, the last time I hugged you was in September. And to be totally fair, I haven't hugged many people in the last 3 months except for some family. But what have you been up to since you were here in St. John's at Circus Fest?
Well, I mean, since September is quite a long time ago, like you say, another lifetime. But I had a lot of Christmas cards to make. That was a really big activity for the autumn, late autumn. And then for the first time in 7 years, I didn't work for the Christmas season. And I actually went to Ottawa and spent it with my family and made Christmas dinner and did Christmas activities and went tobogganing with my nieces and nephews and did all sorts of really beautiful winter and family love stuff. So that was a real treat, actually.
Wow, that's great. Christmas is so busy. You must be on tour all the time and doing shows.
Yeah, precisely. Christmas is the time to work. And I love working Christmas, frankly. But I felt this year was a good time to take a break and honor my family as well.
And then you kept going and had a big break after that, I bet.
Yeah, well, actually, I already had this whole time period chalked off to development anyhow, so it hasn't been a huge disruption for me.
Perfect.
In fact, I was already on isolation for months, so by the time it was imposed,
official,
my 23 hours of solitude or augmented to 24 hours of solitude. But I didn't mind actually. I kind of love quarantine, if I'm honest.
Where are you based right now?
I'm in Regina, Saskatchewan. So isolation here is already quite natural.
Kind of like
A
here.
little bit like St. John.
We were the first to open, and when the premier announced that Saskatchewan could have gatherings of up to 10 people, Saskatchewaners started asking, yeah, where shall we find 10 people?
I love it.
So what are you working on? Did you have a plan of doing a show or just collecting material or?
I'm working towards television, actually. I've already been working towards screen base. So I've been making short films and now getting those polished up and off to festivals
Oh, wow.
and yeah, and just working towards getting Gloria on TV.
Ooh.
So I've already been kind of in the process.
Pretty good timing. Pretty good timing.
Yeah.
As the whole industry, unfortunately, in my view, it's not that it's not good to switch to digital. It's having to switch to digital is pretty hard on people, I think.
Yeah, it's been very intimidating and difficult for a lot of people. I feel really fortunate because I've already been on this process for the last 4 years, working in that direction, and you know, as much as there's impositions, there's also a lot of benefits, you know, for people that aren't able to go to the theater, or for senior citizens who don't want to travel after 8 p.m.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of benefits to expanding our viewing methods as well. So I'm pretty excited about it all.
It's opened up a whole bunch of new. If we can keep that and still keep the whole live element that we've got, it might be a great benefit to the whole industry.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, we held a cabaret a couple of weeks ago, and we had as many ticket sales as we normally have in the theater.
Wow.
Yet when you look in the screen, you know, it's actually a family of 3 or 4 watching. So we had, and we were also live streaming for free on YouTube and Twitch and Twitter, and so we had many more numbers than we would have had in the theater. So
interesting.
Yeah, and people did still feel really connected, and they stayed till the very end of the show and stayed after chatting with each other till the wee hours. So even people were flirting. So you know, it was going off just like in a different way, but we can still connect.
Yeah. Speaking of cabarets and your character Gloria, you were our superstar MC, one of our superstar MCs for the last 2 Circus Fests, and I fell in love with Gloria. I actually saw you perform live in Varekai. I can't remember what city, but I do remember your clown in Varekai. And I'm just kind of wondering, having been to Newfoundland twice, actually I think you'd been here another time just visiting. You're a good friend of Eric Lamb. If you don't know who Eric Lamb is, he's an amazing physio. I'm going to do a little plug for him, Riverside Therapeutics. But did you have a highlight of being here for the first 2 festivals?
It was all so uplifting, I have to say. It's really such a treat to get to come to St. John's. But of course, Anahareo, the highlight for me is you and I in our hooker costumes giving thanks to the government funding bodies. I think that's one of my most proud moments of my career. And that the Canada Council were represented there and actually appreciated it. Really warms me to no end. They actually invited me to be on the jury after that. So
and what I could
she dresses up nice, they said. We're going to have her on our jury.
And I think, Mookie, if it hadn't been you who asked me to do that, I was like, I can't say no. You could have asked me to do anything, I would have done it. But like, I was like, I'm not saying no. And then secretly, I'm like, what have I just done? But thank you. That was a moment for me with you as well. So, and thank you, Canada Council, because they have been good. Like you said, they're good.
Oh yeah, no, they're super.
And especially during this whole pandemic, I got to say, it's been great to have the support. You know, to have the public support, for sure, right?
Yeah, they've helped us kind of switch over again into that digital mode. We, as a company, we were kind of switching gradually and, you know, updating our digital expertise. That's why one of the reasons we're able to do this show. I mean, it's been a learning experience. This is our 5th episode. We've had to change and adapt and get better at it, which we're hoping to use in the festival. We're hoping to use this experience and this kind of digital, you know, upgrading of our brains so that we can pull off a festival that still has a sense of place, but can bring people in from all over, you know?
And kind of like what I'm wondering with everyone too, because it's such a new way. Like when I first started thinking about having a festival here, it was to bring people together. And now to think about it going digitally and bringing people together digitally, it's such a mind shift that I have to go through. And I'm kind of wondering from your perspective, how do you see the future of circus in even just say the next year? Because like you said, now you did your digital cabaret. I'm just wondering how we bridge the gap. We're probably never going to go back to the way it was, but what do you, maybe, but like sometimes.
Yeah, we can't be predicting the future for Pete's
It's really
sake.
hard,
You
isn't
know,
it?
we've never experienced this before, and we can't compare it to other flus. We don't know. It could
Yeah.
disappear as easily as it arrived. So
That's true.
I don't believe that we won't be in groups again. But it's
Yeah.
part of humanity.
Oh no, I believe in groups, and I'm just wondering if it's, you know, the exporting of all the circus that was, you know, the traveling. So I think some things are going to change. You know, I think, yeah, for sure. I think we're going to gather in groups here sooner than later. But I'm just wondering, when is an audience going to be ready to go into a theater, or how are those setups going to be? You know, I just think things are going to be a little bit different.
It's kind of like we learned a lot of lessons from it. I mean, you know, I think a lot of people don't want to go exactly back to where it was, you know, and you can see even in the news that people want a new normal. They want, you know, what do you take from it? What of all the things that have happened in the last 3 months? Well, what do you take from it that you say, yeah, this maybe what is a good change that we can make?
I mean, on a personal level, it would be great if we were more mindful and thoughtful about our consumption and our travel.
Yeah.
What do I do if someone's knocking at the door?
You just ignore them. Just ignore.
Invite them in.
Invite them in. We'll ask them a few questions.
I'll just take a look in the window. Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
Pardon me.
Keep talking.
I love it. You never know who's going to show up at Mookie's.
Yeah. She'll be a guest star on the show.
Yeah.
I don't know if we got to give her royalties too, Anahareo.
Maybe.
I'm so sorry. Okay, I'll back up to the same sentence.
No problem.
No, it's okay. We're not going to edit. We're just going right on through.
Well, anyhow, on a personal level, I do feel it's important for us to be more mindful about consumption and travel. So I hope it is a wake-up call I think it's a wake-up call for many of us.
Yeah.
And I mean, last year at the festival, many of the discussions that we were having as artists backstage and such were about environmental concern. And obviously this virus is also a result of environment and overpopulation, and that's where we're coming. So we do need to start considering a change of lifestyle, especially us, the ultra privileged who can just fly to Montreal to visit my friends for the weekend. You know, we have to really start being more choosy about our choices.
Yeah,
so
we have an industry which gathers people, so you know that's tricky.
Yeah, yes, but we can gather in our own places, and we can also, you know, if we are going somewhere, to make sure we're going for some time, that we're not just skip into Russia for a birthday party. Like you work in the East for 3 months, and then it's maybe more valid.
Yeah.
And you know, I think we've been very indulgent, especially in our field. Let's face it. You know, we're very fortunate to have gotten to see and experience as much of the world as we have. But definitely we have to reconsider the importance.
How it's done and what's important. Speaking of all the travel, because you have traveled a lot in your career, do you have a place or a show or a performance that stands out the most in your career thus far?
I guess in terms like geographically, the 2 places that come to mind that kind of, you know, really moved me to the bone deeply was in the first time performing in the south of Spain in Sevilla, where the manner of applause there is everyone stomps and claps in unison. And it's so powerful that, in fact, we had to replace the floorboards every week. So the first time that this eruptive sound of stomping and clapping of 3,000 people in unison, I think there wasn't one of us that didn't have goosebumps and tears in our eyes. It was so evocative.
Cool.
Yeah. And then for me also to get to perform in Moscow as a clown was a huge honor. You know, they have such a dynamic and interesting clown history mostly from the 19th and 20th century, but their clown history is one that inspired me so much, and getting to perform there, and also an extremely genuine and heartfelt people who would not applaud if they didn't mean it. So when they were on their feet at the end of the show, that was very emotional as well. Very.
Oh my God, that's great, Mookie. Yeah. Two very interesting counterpoints, and that, of course, you had to travel to do that.
Yeah,
but meaningful travel.
I've been very blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mookie, I hear you have a video as part of our presentation. Anything you want to tell us about, or you can keep it secret, totally secret too, if you want.
Yes, I shouldn't spill the beans, but Gloria did want to put a little something together for you all. So,
we can't wait.
I was so hoping to see Gloria today. I mean, I love seeing Mookie, but I was hoping to see both of you. So, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Mookie.
I
Great
do
to see you.
Look forward to the next time we hug and seeing you in person somewhere in the world.
So here's Mookie's video.
Thank you.
Bye, Mookie.
See you, beauties.
Ciao.
What have I been up to? No. Hula hooping.
Born to be wild.
Accordion playing. Soccer ball bouncing. Piano practicing. Baking. Sing-alongs. She'll be coming round the mountain, coming round the mountain. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. Blowing bubbles on Wednesdays. Gardening every day. Tapping. And Shaolin Monkey Earth Warrior martial arts training. Nature walks, Zoom talks, sidewalk talk. Heck, I've been so busy on quarantine, I'm gonna need a holiday. Stay well, everybody, and enjoy your days.
Oh, Mookie, thank you.
Oh, she's leading a very full life, and you'd expect that of Mookie. She brings so much joy to people.
A lot of costume changes. I remember in one of the shows, actually every show I've seen her perform in here at the festivals, she's had a different costume for every time she comes on stage, kind of like what she just did. And she just plugged my mom's cookbook as well, Island Vegan. So apparently she's been loving that. The last two Circus Fests, we've had like anyone that was kind of left over of the festival who didn't leave like right after.
Orphan's dinner.
Kind of an orphan's dinner, and my mom would prepare a beautiful vegan dinner. And I think that's the reason that we lured Mookie back the second year was just for that dinner. So thank you, Mookie. Up next, we have Marie-Ève Dicaire from Montreal. I want to say happy Saint-Jean-Baptiste to all my lovely friends in Quebec. And Marie-Ève is originally from Montreal. She started out as a dancer and felt that there was something missing when she was dancing. And then she auditioned for the National Circus School, got accepted, and that was it. She found her dream. She graduated in 2006 as a hand balancer, but what's very unique about Marie-Ève is that she mixes fluidity with precision. She's just incredible. It's like she's dancing on her hands, literally. She has toured, she graduated in 2006 and then toured in 2 circuses in Switzerland, Circus Starlight and Circus Monty. She's done a ton of cabarets in Germany. She has done every major company in Quebec she has worked with, from Circus to Cirque du Soleil to most recently Seven Fingers. And she's just fantastic. Even during the pandemic, she's been working on new acts, and she's constantly finding innovative ways to move and dance on her hands. We were so fortunate to have her here for our first 2 Circus Fests, and what's so amazing about Marie-Ève is that she brings something different every time. The first year she performed here, she was with the National Circus School and the NSO show, which Mookie was the MC for, and she was just stunningly gorgeous performing to a live orchestra. And then we invited her back the second year, and she did L'Impro Cirque for the first time ever. She admitted to me after. And she also did an amazing act in the cabaret, which was handstands with no canes or anything, just on the floor, really showing her dance. And
incredible.
it was
Precision and art.
so
is
beautiful.
Amazing.
And it could have just kept going. It was one of those acts you didn't want to end. Actually, this is the act that we're watching right now. I'm kind of spellbound right now.
Yeah.
So with that said, I could go on and on about Marie-Ève, but let's just introduce Marie-Ève.
Hello, hello.
Hey,
Hi,
great
Marie-Ève.
to see you.
Nice to see you guys.
You look fabulous. I saw you Friday night perform on Anouk's show, Bâtiment de Cirque, is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I loved it. How was it performing outdoors?
It felt really good. It felt really good performing. All the people there were really present, and even if we were just a few, it felt like really satisfying to be live performing.
Was it your first performance since March?
Yes,
Wow.
first performance.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so you do incredible handstand work, which is kind of good because you can work alone. You can still practice alone, not like a tightrope artist or even past jugglers. So have you been able to keep practicing and stuff throughout the whole pandemic?
Yeah, it's the great thing about hand dancing. I mean, you can do it almost anywhere. I mean, of course, the nice weather when it came was really appreciated, so I can train outside and do some canes because my ceiling here is not high enough to do canes. So at least to change up a little bit my training. But yeah, and I started to take back running because I had time and other type of training. Just before all the shop closed, I bought a chin-up bar.
Me too. It's been great.
Yeah, so no, I've been really lucky, and also I always been quite okay with training on my own. Like it never been a problem, and this is also a thing that we develop as hand balancer. Is that even when we're touring, we're always the only one going to the theater to train earlier and alone. So it's not something that was so incredibly hard for me. So that was nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering, how has it been in Montreal? Is there a lot of more artists there now than there usually are, maybe? Because everyone kind of had to come back.
I think everybody's there. But we don't see each other, which is kind of funny.
Everyone's isolated.
Yeah.
But it's been. I mean, I think when the studio will open, maybe eventually I'll see how many people are in Montreal right now. But I think there are some gathering in the parks now that are possible. So training in the park. I have rehearsal this week in the park for a show that I'll be doing on Saturday. So
things are getting back to normal a little bit.
Yeah, slowly.
Did you
something
the new normal? Did you have any projects? I'm sure you did, though, that were upcoming that had to be either put on hold or postponed. Like what was your schedule kind of looking like before we went into the pandemic?
Yeah, well, I was supposed to be working right now with Cirque in a show in Shawinigan, up north of Montreal, for all summer. A show that I already been doing and I would have done now for the second year. So that was all canceled, of course. So yeah, of course we have projects that have been canceled, but hopefully postponed to next year.
Have some things started to rebook now? Like, do you start to have a schedule that you can kind of look at, or not quite?
Well, I started to teach again, which is something I've been doing for the last years. So this has started for me as private lessons. But as terms of shows, I had Batman Cirque, and Saturday I have a show with Triptyque, a company from Montreal, that people are going to be like outdoor cinema in their car.
Okay, like a drive-in.
So I feel like things are moving, and also like now with the grants that the government is allowing for circus, I think we can apply on project for in situ more type of shows, not in theater, but
yeah.
So things are slowly, like people are starting to think outside the box and be creative about how we can do our job in this pandemic situation. Yeah.
The kind of mixing and matching the medias, like, going to a drive-in to do a show, adding digital parts to the show, live streaming, all that kind of stuff.
And we're both on the board for En Piste, and I've got to say, I think En Piste is doing an amazing job, but I also think that Quebec itself as well, to support the artists right now, they've come up with some great plans, because I know it was kind of really panicky for a little while, just wondering like how is the sector going to kind of get through this. But I think from what I've seen, there's been a lot of really nice initiatives that have been happening.
It's amazing. I mean, En Piste have been supporting us and being out there in the front line for us to fight for our art, to have specific envelope to help us get through this. And I think it has been really appreciated in our field. And it's amazing what they came up with, and now we just have to be inventive and use it in a really smart way. And also that this money is also maybe a first initiative for us to think that we could work here and in our own country and province and city, instead of always thinking to build shows that are for touring.
Yes, because it's a big export from Quebec with the circus. It kind of led to an official recognition of the circus sector in Quebec, I think, that was probably long overdue, really, because I know there was a little feeling that, you know, the Minister of Culture in Quebec wasn't recognizing circus as a separate field. We here in Newfoundland were thinking, this is amazing. And I think even circus people were feeling it. But now I'm not sure, Marie-Ève, but do you feel like there's a better recognition of the whole field of circus in your province, which is leading circus in North America?
Yeah, well, I think this first envelope like this for us to our specific field is an amazing step towards recognition. And also it's not me who said it, but the minister, she's even said it, it's like to catch up a little bit from how far we are behind in our field. Right. For these type of project, in order to be able to happen, to travel for a company inside Quebec and to smaller form to exist. And so they are realizing that we are behind, and this situation is helping us to catch up a little bit.
That's great. It's really exciting. And if you do shows that made for inside Quebec, it means they could also be inside Atlantic Canada and tour around here too and stuff, because, you know, I know the market's often looking at big cities like Berlin and LA.
And speaking of that, we were lucky to have you for both St. John's International Circus Fest, both years. I always like to know, because I'm so in it when I'm there, and I get to kind of talk to everyone while they're here. But I was wondering, of the 2 years, was there a moment that stood out for you, or was there something that you thought, oh, I can't wait to come back the second year? Just kind of wondering your thoughts. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was many things happening in this festival, and I think one thing that it made me realize, and that was so interesting, is that when we got there, people were really eager for circus. You know, we could feel that the community was really ready for a circus festival. But behind this readiness, there is a lot of work from you, Beni, and to be implicated in the community. It's not just a snap and okay, let's do a circus festival, you know. So we really felt this slowly building of a community, and that's why it was so strong. And then we arrive, of course, it's like woohoo, we're all like, everybody's excited, but behind this excitement there was some step in stone. I don't know if it's the right expression in English. But you know, there were things that were built there, and that was really impressive to me, to arrive on the completely eastern far end of Canada and that was built there and so strong. So this was definitely something that made me want to go back to be part of this. And then in terms of performance, the first year I was performing with the orchestra, and that was my first time ever. And to watch them rehearse in rehearsal in the background, in the curtain, you know, to watch this orchestra go was really amazing. And then to perform with them was a real gift. Yeah,
that show really stood out to me too, because I just remember being, first of all, like, I had to give away my ticket. It was sold out in this 1,000-seat theater, but also just with the live music, and then there was Mookie, and then there was all your performances, and everyone had like timed it so well and really used it was a magical moment, you know. It's one of those moments that like will we ever be able to reproduce that show? Probably not, but we did.
And that's the beauty
right?
of it, though.
That's kind of the beauty of it.
And Mookie through the orchestra. You saw all the musicians smile, and the rehearsal was so serious. Yeah. And Mookie was just marking and not really doing her bits. And then during the show, there was really an amazing moment to see all the musicians laugh. You know, they're so serious in orchestra. It was really nice.
I remember she told me she had 7 costume changes for all 7 acts.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was madness.
And like Mookie, you're a world traveler. I mean, I've seen you perform in many countries actually. And I'm kind of wondering, do you have a particular contract that was your favorite, a particular country, a particular company, or just one show? I could go on and on, but something that, you know, is your highlight right now?
Yeah. Well, I think something I will always remember. Well, first it was my favorite show to perform. It was Triptyque. It was a show that Samuel Tétrault had orchestra with. It was with 3 different choreographers, and we toured it for a while, and we played it in Les Nuits de Fourvière, which is a festival in Lyon, in France.
Okay.
And it's happening in an old from the amphitheater, you know, all in stone,
like Colosseum,
really old ones. And we performed right after Radiohead, so we had to rehearse during the night. It was really mad, but then that night when we performed, we were in this theater. It was outside. We could see trees in the back, and all the people were sitting on the stones in front of us. It was this for me when I went down, because we all start in a handstand, so we don't see anything. The show, and then we stood up, and then I was like, oh my god, wow! It was really powerful for me, and it's the best show for me to perform overall, and that was really special.
That sounds magical. Well, a little feature of our show is that we get our guests to do a little video of where they are now, just a little snapshot of their lives. So we know you've got a video prepared for
2 videos, I think.
2 videos.
Yeah.
Anything you want to tell us about them before we show them?
Well, it's a little bit of what I've been up to in the last couple of months, and what I've had the chance to experiment and play with since COVID.
Well, thank you so much. And again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, wonderful to be here with you.
I tell everyone I can't wait to actually see you in person, and I know it will be sooner than later, I'm sure. But until then, take care, stay safe, train hard.
See you, Marie-Ève.
You too, guys.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Here's the video.
Hey, I thought I would share what COVID positiveness brought to me is the opportunity to make a garden. So being a circus artist, you're always traveling. And now when I learned that I was going to be at home all summer, I made this with my dad. He has a wood shop. And then I planted cucumbers, little peas, tomatoes, carrots, some herbs, fresh herbs. And of course, having a little home makes you have a little place to train for yourself. So here is a little bit of a sequence for you.
The incredible Marie-Ève in a beautiful garden setting this time.
I want to go eat at her house.
Yeah.
I'm sure she must get a little bit of attention from the neighbors, hey?
I bet, hey?
But she makes it look so easy, and I can guarantee you it's not near as easy as she makes it look. Definitely not. And also, I think a lot of circus artists must be jealous. The fact being a handstand artist, like I have an aerial hoop set up in my basement, but it's only this high off the ground, so I only got on it once just for the novelty of saying I got on my hoop in my house. So it's beautiful to see, even with dogs running around, what you can do.
Yeah, it's great.
So that was our episode 5. Thanks so much for joining us.
We love having you here, even on this hot June night in St.
I'm
John's.
going to jump in the kiddie pool, I think, after this.
Yeah,
and it
great
has to be
idea.
really warm for me
A
to do
beverage
that.
on the deck, perhaps?
We want to say a big thank you to all our Wonderbolt team. First of all, we have Steph and Marco behind the scenes helping out live as we go live.
And in our team and in their office, or working remotely at home, they're getting lively there. Brad, Ian, Diana,
Jesse.
Connie, Marion. Great
Yeah,
team.
we have a
Wonderful
great
work with
team.
you guys. Look forward to pushing forward and doing a great festival together.
Next week, we'll be taking a little break. It's Canada Day, so we're going to celebrate. We're hoping that you're going to celebrate too. I think Canada's a pretty good place to be right now
Yeah,
during
we're
the
happy.
pandemic. So I think it's a good time to celebrate.
Yeah, we'll be back July 8th.
And we have, again, we always like to say amazing guests. We kind of handpick them, so all the people we invite are pretty special.
Yeah.
I have a very special person we're going to be chatting to. His name is Tigris. He goes by Tigris, that's his artist name. His actual name is Philip.
Yeah.
I met him many years ago in Germany. Well, let's say in 2005. We worked together at the Chameleon.
Mm-hmm.
He is spectacular. He is just incredible. He has never stopped working. He is an incredible male contortionist and a hula hoop artist and an aerialist. And I just love this guy.
And just a great personality.
Marco knows I have a crush, so it's all good. He's, anyway, we won't get into that. But so we have Tigris joining us, as well as Cito. And Cito is
From Vancouver.
And we're so happy to have someone join us from the West Coast.
Yeah.
East Coast, West Coast representing.
From one end to the other. Cito's a fanatic cat person, a great aerialist. Really fun to hang out with, so we're going to be.
And she
really looking forward to
unicycles
that.
and does it both, so we
Unicycles
can't
does
wait
it all.
to.
Going to be in our show, Big Top Pop Up.
Yeah.
Cito, so we're looking
So we
forward
look
to
forward
that.
to chatting with her. I'm going to do a little plug for myself. I'm going to be on a panel that is going to be then streamed next Tuesday, and it's with Circus Talk, and it's on Festivals 2020. So why don't you join me then, because you're going to hear a little bit about
Yeah,
our
we'll send a link
festival.
out on the Wonderbolt page.
And in August, we're going to be joining with Diana and Meg Weg, and we're going to be having a chat about how we're going forward, how different people are doing stuff digitally and live, and getting a little bit of insight. And we're going to reveal to you our festival.
Yeah, so be there for that. Have a great Canada Day next week. And remember, stay all dressed up.
Thank you.
Love you guys.
See you soon.